Hi everyone, I'm Chris, and today on our new show, Cinema Gibberish, we are talking about the latest hit movie with the kids called Black Widow. It is Marvel Studios' newest outing in cinemas, first in 2 years, so I never thought I would say the newest Marvel Studios movie in theaters again. So it's been a while. Today I'm joined by my guest, So you might be wondering about this movie. Well, it was directed by Kate Shortland, who was not a huge name before this movie came about. She was known as the Berlin Syndrome, Lore, and The Silence. Again, I have not heard or seen anything about these movies, but apparently Scarlett Johansson had to FaceTime, Zoom call Kate Shortland to direct this movie to convince her to do it. She must be good. Like I said, this cast stars Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. I don't know if this is her last outing, and I'm just going to say this up front. Spoilers for Avengers Endgame. I think it goes without saying, but I think it's very important that everyone knows that. This is going to be mostly a non-spoilers discussion, though. Actually, it'll be a spoiler warning. It'll look like this. It'll look like that. Isn't that neat? It's big spoilers. It's like a car. Anywho, like I was saying, this movie stars a pretty well-rounded cast starring Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, a newcomer to the MCU. There is Florence Pugh as her little sister. There is David Harbour as her dad, aka the Red Guardian, the essentially the Russian Captain America. And then rounding out the cast in terms of the family is the mom, played by Rachel Weisz. Yeah, Rachel Weisz. And to just get into the things I liked about this movie, because there are things I do and don't like, and I will touch upon each topic. I like the cast and the whole family dynamic that is really a lot of what this movie is about. This movie in a lot of ways reminds me of the Phase 2 Marvel movies, in that the heroes and all in their own journey and the other side characters and heroes that they interact with, that stuff is great. Where the movie lacks is in, well, the villain department, which used to be a big problem for Marvel for years. And this is no change of pace. I think we were spoiled by Marvel there for a few years, where we got great villains such as Thanos. I'll throw Mysterio up there. Black Panther's villain, Eric Killmonger, that's his name, and others of the sort. So a heads up, this movie does take place between Captain America: Civil War and Avengers: Infinity War. It's kind of, I would say, it's probably the movie that takes place closest to Civil War, immediately after Civil War, if that makes sense. Anyway, other things I liked were the action was pretty dope. I guess if you want to use dope as a professional adjective to describe movies, the action was dope. It was actually super cool. There were a lot of really cool set pieces. I saw a complaint about the finale. I won't get into what the finale is or anything like that, but the finale had a habit of cutting away too soon from the really exciting action, and I personally didn't even think or realize that, but that person might be onto something. I'd have to watch the movie again. I am fresh from seeing the movie last night. Other things that I like, the score is pretty neat. It very much is, it fits very well with Black Widow and her character, as well as the action does. I don't think I said too much about the action, but I think the action and the score, they go very well together, and they fit the character pretty decently. So if I were to hear this score again, just out in the blue or out in the wild, I'd be like, you know what, that sounds like Black Widow. If I were to guess, that's probably Black Widow. Another thing I liked was the humor. It's very Marvel humor. So I mean, it's a pretty safe and reliable type of humor. It doesn't go above and beyond. It's not like gut splitting. I will say the two unsurprisingly funniest parts of this movie are the Red Guardian, played by David Harbour, and Florence Pugh's character, which I can't remember her name now. I just saw this a day ago, but I can't remember her name. They are somehow the funniest characters in this movie. And again, those were like a lot of the characters. Those were like standout characters too, I gotta say, were the little sister and Red Guardian. In terms of humor and emotion. They were definitely what helped me get invested into the whole family dynamic and stuff. Anyway, so that kind of rounds out the things I do enjoy about this movie. And now we're going to get into my brief list of things I didn't necessarily enjoy about this movie. One, the villains, because there are multiple villains. And by the way, I say a lot when I jump between sentences. It's my sentence transition is saying. So the villains in this movie are Taskmaster is the one who is advertised as the main villain, but giving you a heads up, he is not the main villain. And I saw someone do a comparison in terms of how people reacted to the Mandarin in Iron Man 3 to this, and how a lot of people really didn't like the whole Mandarin reveal from Iron Man 3, and how either people will like the twist or the reveal of of Taskmaster, or people will not. I'm not one to be like, oh, you know, they have to follow the comics to a T, or they have to do everything like this character to a T, because Marvel Studios does a lot of just picking and pulling from comics and storylines and kind of making it their own. And a lot of the times they pull it off and it works. Here, a very few instances, it doesn't really work. Now, in terms of why it's better than the Mandarin twist, at least, is it's not at least an insult to the character of Taskmaster, whereas the Mandarin was just used as a joke in Iron Man 3. Here, it's still made like a serious thing, and it still is pretty well integrated into the plot, but it's still, I feel like it could have been a lot cooler, at least. And lastly, it's not that big of a complaint, but still something. The pacing, as well as kind of the length, I guess, it feels short. It really feels like it's a short movie, or at least it feels like it. And the pacing in the finale is it's all over the place. It's very oddball, where some scenes feel a lot longer, or a lot of other places feels a lot shorter. It kind of jumps. It's, again, without giving anything away, the finale seems to be the part that a lot of people have problems with, so that's no surprise there. I won't spoil it. Heck, I might not even throw the spoiler thing up here, but it's a hit or miss movie for sure. And to give a final rating or whether you should go see it in theaters or buy it on Disney Plus, I will have to say I definitely think this is worth a theater experience at least. This definitely isn't like one of the best Marvel theater experiences I've been in. I would say this is definitely warranted at least a theater experience, though, as I think a lot of Marvel movies are. As well, I would probably give it a 7 out of 10, because, again, there's good things in here like the acting, the cast, the action, and the family dynamic. But it doesn't really, while it's all good, it's not great, if that makes sense. Like, it's fine. It does its job. I enjoyed myself for the most part. I'd probably watch it again, but it's definitely not like top tier Marvel. I'd probably throw it down with Iron Man 3 or Ant-Man and the Wasp, maybe around that territory of Marvel movies, if you feel the same way I do about those movies. I think that's gonna do it for us today here on Cinema Gibberish. We will be back next week with an awesome special episode of Cinema Gibberish, our second episode. Yeah. And you guys have a great day, and don't die. See ya.